This really should have been episode 0.
Yeah, I got balls, of course I read. I got balls, won't you listen to
Hello, welcome back. I am Gary Ballard. This is The Author Has Thoughts. Today's video is talking about episode 1 of my Kindle Vella series / novel, Hiss Whistle Dead. I seriously considered calling this episode 0 because in the sense of when it was written, this wasn't in the original outline. Somewhere around the original episode 6 or 7, which at the time would have been 5 or 6, but might now actually be 7 or 8. I don't even remember. I got worried that the word count wasn't going to hit 50K, which was kind of the arbitrary target I'd set for myself. Like 50K is the minimum size that I think you can do to call something a novel. And I was getting worried I wasn't going to quite get there. And I also felt like the first few episodes worked fine. If it was a novel that you'd already bought the whole thing, you committed to it already. It was a bit of a sunk cost to get to the rest of the story. If I recall correctly, this was not one of the episodes I had to do a big rewrite on, though once I realized I was going to have to resize some episodes, I did take another pass at it, which was pretty good. I got to tighten it up a little bit. As an aside, it occurs to me that if Vella had existed when I did the Stepping Stone cycle novellas, I'd probably have used it because of the episodic format. You know, the Vella word counts are drastically different. I mean, the Stepping Stone novellas were each around 30,000 words. And now I know that the Vella has a 5,000 word limit per episode, a hard stopping point. Still, I love the idea of the episodic content that eventually gets packaged as a novel. And I tested it with Stepping Stone, but the sales numbers just never really took off. At the time I started Stepping Stone, I didn't really have the same avenues for marketing that I have now. I mean, Twitter was still my best marketing platform before it became, Nazi paradise. I actually started this YouTube channel because I was trying to promote the last 2 episodes of that series, and honestly, it didn't really work. As you can look by my subscriber count, there's not really a lot of subscribers. The Stepping Stone just never sold. I think it's a good series. Really do think it's a good series. But I also can see where it would get lost in a lot of Cthulhu mythos fiction. There's a lot of that which is plain garbage. My opinion, just my opinion. I don't think mine is, obviously, because again, it's my opinion. I'm writing these episodes and it's going pretty well. But I think I'm going to fall short of that word count that word count limit that I had set for myself. And based on how much I actually did have in the final first draft, I guess, it probably would have come up short. So I came up with this idea of a kind of a prequel episode, like a pilot episode of TV. It introduces the character, gives you an overview of what the excavator is, and it's got a little action, a little punch up to draw the reader in. It's not unlike what TV shows do, where they'll shoot a pilot, they'll test it with audiences, and then they'll tweak some things like cast members, and they'll put the pilot later on or earlier than other parts of the series. They'll kind of switch up the already established series order, so you don't just drop the viewer in cold. I am glad I went back and wrote this episode after the first draft, or in the middle of the first draft, because it let me establish some of the tech, some of the universe's structure for the readers who might not have ever read Bridge Chronicles, or may not even be that familiar with cyberpunk. It is a bit more punchy than some of the other early episodes, but that of course is by design. I was trying to do something that was actiony. A lot of those early episodes are either just conversations between 2 people, or their shell, doing her digging. Now, the process of her digging and her investigation, to me, is fascinating. It's one of the reasons I write about it. But it might not be as, might not pull the reader in immediately like a good action sequence would. I have found it's a bit of a common theme with my work, especially if you look at the Stepping Stone books. I really do like the slow burn especially when I know that there's a larger overarching story, but then I have to do these little almost self-contained, not totally self-contained episodes, but something similar. I'm going to deliberately give the contours of the story in little dribs and drabs, which when you look back in hindsight works out really good. But in the middle of the episodes, it may feel a little tedious or disjointed when you're not immersed in the story, when you don't know the whole picture. It's that I know this is one big story told over a whole season mentality, but that's a very delicate balance to maintain. Those early episodes have to feel more cohesive and almost stand alone, more compact without really revealing too much of anything, but they can't just sit there and do nothing, just, spin wheels. They have to give some weight to the story, and they have to have some stakes of their own. Now, in a book format with a deliberately non-omniscient viewpoint style like I use in the Bridge Chronicles, I don't always feel like I can shift perspective from one character to another to show events that the current character, the current viewpoint hasn't seen or experienced to establish that things are happening. But like with TV or movies, you do that all the time because most of them aren't focused on one character. There's, kind of multiple characters. Now, movies especially, have to do this because they only got 2.5 hours to get done. So you can't really waste any precious screen time that might make the audience's attention drift and make them, walk out and give you a bad review. So with that said, the main thrust of this episode is an arena fight. Arena fights are fun.
Are you not entertained?
They're actiony. They give me an opportunity to show not only what Shell does, it lets me kind of info dump and explain the hacking, the excavation, but it also lets me show what kind of an operator Shell is. She gets in a scrap where she's put at an immediate and deliberate disadvantage, and well, let's see how she overcomes that, which can tell you a lot about her character. And then, as the stinger at the end of the episode, that honeypot to get the reader invested, we get a reveal that sets the whole story in motion. Thank you for watching. I hope you come back for the next episode, and I hope you've already bought the current episode. Hit me up on my socials. They're somewhere over here, Instagram and Blue Sky. Subscribe, hit the notification bell, like or dislike the video, and give me a comment if you read it and you like it, or if you haven't read it and don't want to and you're going to tell me how much I suck. That's fine too. Just go ahead. My name is Gary Ballard, and these have been my thoughts.
1, 2, 3, 4.